What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Connie G Show. My name is Conrad, and how are you, buddy? Today is Tuesday, September 6th, 2022, the year of our Lord, and I'm broadcasting from the Super Shed here in Prague, Oklahoma. Prague's only podcast studios, as far as I know it. So, yep, got that to go off of. If you found us, thank you. You found us by subscribing to the Connie G Show on iTunes or Spotify, and thank you. Maybe you found it on Facebook. Maybe you found it, through a priest told you about it or something and said it was one of the few podcasts that he really enjoys before a sermon or something. But however you found it, thank you. Maybe you found it through Con Radio, because the Connie G Show is just part of Con Radio. And Con Radio is not only the home of the Connie G Show, but also the home of those guys from Wichita and the OK Taco Show. And, any shenanigans at Monday morning papers or middle of the road, I got to get with Casey on trying to get his downloads so I can add them to Con Radio. But it's all under that umbrella. And there's even a Patreon with bonus shows and thousands of episodes. And, it's a way to support what we're doing down here in Oklahoma, which is called Changing the Frickin' World. Okay? There's a world out there. Are you going to change it? I didn't think so. I'm working on it. Okay? So, it's called Changing the World, buddy. And I'm working on it. So thank you for being a part of it, and thank you for listening, and thank you for understanding that, it's not creepy that I'm talking to you. It's not creepy that we're sitting in a shed right now, and you don't know who I am, and I don't know who you are. It's not creepy. So, I didn't do a show yesterday. Here's the thing, dude. Last week, I went to Kansas and before that, like the week prior, the Richard Pryor week of that. Went up to Kansas. We did those guys from Wichita. As far as I remember, great episode. But I was talking about that I had a chink in my neck. And, it started on that day, that Friday. And then we got through the weekend and I mowed some grass and, did some weed eating. All I did was weed eat. I weed eated a big concrete ditch that's filled with COVID masks. And then I weed eated the snake pond that I've talked about quite a few times over the years. And actually my brother came and helped me. My younger brother, Tug, come and help me do that. So that was Sunday, and by the time I got back home Monday, I was okay. The chink in the neck, you know how that happens. Like, it'll eventually, if it is that, it will eventually just, I think it's dissipate. The pain will, and go away, and you kind of forget you ever had it. But, dude, I got through last week. We did a few shows, and I know we haven't been doing as much, but we got like a lot of stuff going on, and I'll kind of get into that here in a minute. But so Friday rolls around, drive up. I take Mexico up. He picks up his car from the shop. Everything's going pretty good. We go over and do the show. Good show. And then Saturday it's opening day. It's Sooner football, guy. And I'm happen to be, the past 2 years have been such a blur. I missed a lot of that. That was my whole, not to say that it wasn't for good reason, but, we were building something. And so when we were building the taco truck and out there running the taco truck, I couldn't make it back every Saturday. It's kind of a family tradition for us to go over to my grandpa's house and watch the Sooners. It's more about getting together with, whether it be my siblings or really just being around my grandpa, and I wouldn't even say that we live or die by the game, I would say that the interest in the game is appropriate. You know what I mean? I think that's the right word. Like, we really care. We're pulling for our guys. We want the Sooners to win, but if they don't, they don't, and we don't care that much. And so I think that's the way you have to look at it. These are just children playing a game, and you think that the children you're watching are better than other children, but it doesn't. It doesn't amount to a Hillary Clinton stinky. I don't know where I was going with that analogy. It doesn't amount to a hill of beans, is what people say, and it damn doesn't. It damn doesn't. I'll tell you that right now. Whether they win or lose, I'm not part of the. I don't have any connection at all to the Sooners or their legacy, and they don't know that my family's been sitting around in Viola, Kansas, cheering on them for years, 50 years, 60 years, however long my grandpa's been cheering. So, anyways, they're playing UTEP, right? Which is still a school, And OU's favored big, as they should be. And it's funny because I'm in a vortex with the taco truck and being down here in Oklahoma and always being a Sooner fan myself. Because when I started the taco truck's Twitter page, immediately, now I kind of have an excuse to follow along with the program because it's 45 minutes away from me, and when we were back in Wichita, I didn't feel as connected to it as I do down here. And we've been to Norman. We've served tacos in Norman. I've been to Oklahoma City. We've been through all this stuff, with the truck. And so I felt like I'm kind of there. I'm kind of in it. And so I follow a bunch of athletes. I follow the head coach, not only Bob Stoops, but the new head coach, Brent Venables. I've known him. If you're a fan of Oklahoma football, you've known Brent Venables since Bob Stoops became the head coach in 1999, or 98. No, 99. And he brought Brent in there, and Brent was the assistant head coach to Mike Stoops, or assistant defensive coordinator to Mike Stoops from 99 to like 2008. And then Mike Stoops left to go coach Arizona, and Brent took over as defensive coordinator and was that from 08 to like 2012. And then he went to Clemson, and with Dabo Swinney, they've won two or three titles. And it was always a top 10 defense, maybe even top 5. And he's just an incredibly passionate coach and an incredibly, I would say, well articulated on at least his vision. He's very good at describing what he sees with his programs. But I don't really, before this year, I hadn't followed that closely to a program. It's kind of like when, if you have HBO, if you're privileged enough to have HBO Max, they do Hard Knocks. I think the Detroit Lions are featured this year. I don't have a subscription to that right now. But when you would watch Hard Knocks, I remember when Herm Edwards was coaching for the Kansas City Chiefs, and they had, God, what was that running back's name? It was after Priest Holmes. Larry Johnson, I think. Larry Johnson was the running back, 2'7", right? And I remember watching Hard Knocks. It was my first time I ever watched Hard Knocks. And, the way that, like the music, and then the great narrator always.
Today's the first day at training camp. Newbies will be meeting with veterans of the squad. Who knows what will happen?
And it's like, then people write down segues and stuff. But when you watch Hard Knocks, what happens is you're in the world. Like right now, if I was watching it, I'd be in the Detroit Lions world, and I would believe, God, nobody's going to beat these guys this year. Nobody even knows what's coming, And then when the season starts, you realize, even though it looked great on Hard Knocks, they did a great job editing it. Other teams were actually learning football. These guys weren't. And I remember that specifically with the Chiefs because there was like a lockout situation. Herm Edwards was the coach, and Herm Edwards is my high school football coach. Like, they have different names, but my high school football coach is Herm Edwards. And he was my, I loved him as a coach. Hated him as a man because his son was a grade below me, and the things that man did to that family, I don't appreciate because I love his son because he's one of my good friends. And but anyways, loved him as a coach. But he talked everything he talked he didn't do it privately, clearly, because he's not coaching when he's at home. And I think that's the disconnect. Sometimes that happens where people see you on the sidelines or they see you on this and be like, "Are you like that at home?" It's like, no, no, I turn it off, man. And I don't want to be doing this at home. Sometimes it comes out because it's there all the time, just like a coach. But you turn it off, and this is on, and it's not great. I'm not saying it's a great thing, but dude, my high school football coach was just like Herm Edwards because what they had in common was they would latch onto a phrase, and it would exist for the remainder of a week, the remainder of a month, the remainder of a season, or something, So I remember watching that Hard Knocks with the Chiefs, and every meeting, Herm Edwards would do the thing. He's got the short shorts on, he's running in the morning, he's good shape, tan because he's outside in these hot Kansas weather. He's crossing his legs. So what's going on with Larry Johnson? Where's he at? Where's he going to be in camp? Have we made the deal? He's like talking to, one of the Hunts or whoever's running the team manager or whatever that is, the head office guy. It's like, we're working on a deal. We're going to get it. And I just remember, I'll never forget when he'd missed the whole Hard Knocks. He'd missed the whole training camp pretty much. And finally they made a deal with Larry Johnson. And he come out on the field, and then Herm goes crazy on the side. There he is. There's 2-7. There he is. That's it. That's our man. And I think he had like 400 yards that year and then never played again. You know what I mean? It was that big contract year because he had a great couple seasons prior to that. And then when you're watching, like, man, the Chiefs are going to make it. That's way before. You're talking, way before Patrick Mahomes. You're talking Alex Smith maybe got down there before he went and wrecked his leg in Washington. Maybe it was that time. But anyways, because I'm down here, I get on Twitter as the taco truck, and I'm trying to be local. So, at least I have a in, I guess, to how I'm relatable to the state and these people. So you start following some of these athletes, and you start following some of the fans, and all of a sudden you're in a vortex, like a Hard Knocks vortex. And so when we're watching the game against UTEP, dude, I know every player that we have. I know the depth chart. I know how they've done in camp. I've been listening to Venables talk about the progress. I've been listening to offensive coordinator Levy talk about the way they're going to approach the game and the game plan, all these different things, And so when I watched it, I was like, yeah, it's exactly kind of how I thought it would go. And it was. And it was a good game. They stomped them pretty good, and it shouldn't have ever been close. But there's things that you almost are looking for rather than watching a game if you have no idea, just for the excitement. I'm watching the game to be like, are they working on these things that they kind of hinted that they're going to be working on? And those are the things that you watch. But at the same time, what happens is I'm in this vortex, and I think there's no way this team can. I'm so caught up in the hype machine now, even more. Before it'd be like, yeah, you got especially since Bob Stoops left. It's like, oh, Lincoln Riley, great offensive mind, and he's going to get these guys playing offense great. But then he brings in Alex Grinch, this Ohio State defensive coordinator, and you think these guys are going to get it together. And it's such BS that they were awful. I mean, over Lincoln Riley's tenure there, they won some championships, Big 12 championships, but by the skin of their teeth. When Jalen Hurts won it, coming back on Baylor, that's a miracle. There's all these little miracles. Kyler Murray winning the Big 12 championship against Texas. I mean, there's these little things that, like, it took a really special athlete to propel them. It was not the game plan. It was a bad game plan. And a lot of that was coaching. And so you hope that you know that these guys are good, the revered Lincoln Riley and Grinch and all these, but I don't know if they have the same mindset that ever really fit with an Oklahoma team. Bob Stoops had it, and Mike Stoops I feel like had it. But I think they also kind of, you get to a certain point where, dude, in 1999, nobody had a cell phone. None of this stuff existed. So you kind of have to have a younger way of connecting with these athletes in order to progress. And I do think that Lincoln Riley has that, but I don't think he has the game plan, the full game plan. He's got what he wants his guys to do, and his guy is the quarterback, and how he wants that guy to perform. But the team, but Venables, dude. But again, I'm in the hype machine. Maybe none of that's true. I don't know. But I'm so confident, that the Sooners are going to come out of nowhere this year because they're going to actually have a defense. And that's the biggest thing. It always is. You got to score points, but even more important than that is you have to be able to take a team out of their rhythm. And they definitely did that against UTEP. There was some stuff I think could be better, but of course, first game. So anyways, I sat there and watched that whole game. It started at 2:30. So what had happened is I've been, for whatever reason, we got a lot going on, and a lot between Shannon and I and my wife and I and my family. Meaning, not in bad stuff, really. Just a lot of big decisions, big life decisions, and big commitments on the horizon. And we're in the process of trying to go ahead with those, trying to make that commitment. And, there's a lot of paperwork, a lot of meetings. It's like today, we had a meeting. Shannon and I had a meeting with a guy, and my wife did come, and I had also a meeting with the health department lady to come inspect the trailer, but there's a lot of kind of moving parts with all that stuff. And could we have fit a show in at some point? Of course, could have, but we didn't. But Saturday, this whole past week, and even into today, I've just been really focused on getting my run in, getting my exercise in, because it gives me a time to just think about all this stuff. And I'm so obsessed right now with what's going on that I'm waking up. I've woke up at 5 a.m. every day for the past couple weeks. And a lot of that is, I don't know what it is. I've just been waking up at 5 a.m. and I go back to sleep. It's not that I stay awake, but what I do is I get up, go get a drink of water, go to the restroom, and then go lay back down on the couch, or, depending on where I'm at. If I'm at my dad's or at my in-laws, lay down in bed, and I just I wake up thinking about what I was dreaming about, which is what we're working on. You know what I mean? It's like I can't escape it, even in a dream, And so I don't know if that's good or bad. I know it's obsessive, and I know that's my personality, and I know that's what I do, and I try to work through all these problems before they ever happen, because when I get to them, I want to feel like I've been there before, and I don't want to feel like I had a step that I didn't think about already, and prepare myself at least mentally for. But the bad side of that is it permeates the rest of your life, and you're just constantly thinking about that stuff. And it really kind of is hard because you don't feel free of something. You don't feel like, and you're not there yet. Or I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. But the reason I say that is, so on Saturday, because the game was at 2:30, I got up in the morning, I went and ran. I run about 5 miles a day now, or 6 if I have the time, but it doesn't really matter. And I know it was a long weekend, and so ran my 5 miles or 6 miles that Saturday morning. I feel fine. The chink in my neck is gone. I mean, or less noticeable. I can move. I have full range of motion. Everything's fine. And go run my miles. Go get my mower, which is, I'm kind of weary about it right now because it's leaking a little bit of oil and I know where it's coming from and I know how to fix it, but, anyways. It's like I don't have the time. I'm not going to fix it today, so I have to make sure I put some oil in it and be careful, which is good because I was only going to mow I think I got to Case about 10 after exercising. And I mowed until 2 something, and then I drove to my grandpa's and watched the game. I'm fine. We watched the whole game. It was a good game. It's good to talk to my grandpa. It's good to see my dad and my sisters were there. A couple of them. No, three of my sisters were there, except for the one that's in Colorado. And my nieces were there, and they're funny. And my little nephew was there. He looks like the bald guy from Addams Family. So he's a hoot, and I actually got to spend a little time with him, so it was a good day. No neck problem. Go back to my dad's house, because that's where we're staying. I got to get up in the morning to go basically finish Case, which means do all of the inside, mow about 20 acres inside of the dustiest, driest, hasn't rained there, grass, and then do all the weed eating and trimming and stuff that you have to do, and then kind of also be on the lookout for the problems that you need to address before somebody else tells you to address them. I gotta suck this booger up my nose. This happens when I don't talk a lot. I've been cleaning the trailer all day too, and covered in bleach, so I think that's healthy. So game ends, get everything cleaned up. We had some crappy hot dogs. By the way, just a heads up to all you hot dog companies out there. If you're not making an all-beef hot dog, what you're making is trash. So, hot dogs are great. Everybody loves a hot dog, but the problem is, for a long time, it was like you didn't know that there was such a thing as all beef. And it was fine that you had the chicken, pork, beef parts mixed together in some casing, and then, that's all that there was. That was Oscar Mayer, man. That's great. But once you have Nathan's Frankfurter, once you have an all-beef Nathan's, or once you have a Hebrew National quarter-pound hot dog, if you have a freaking Hebrew National quarter-pound hot dog, which I eloquently have dubbed the Anne Frank, if you have an Anne Frank, a Hebrew National, it is as good as any steak you're going to have. It is as satisfying as any food you're going to have. But on the flip side of that coin, if you get served a damn chicken snout, chicken butt, pig's anus hot dog, it is awful. And that's what my sister, Audrey, one of the younger ones, so I blame her age, and we had a conversation like, you just got to know, if you're the person that's tasked with buying the hot dog, you got to buy this kind of hot dog. And she didn't, so it ruined the meal for everyone. But we all ate. It's fine. A lot of people got sick from it, and my dad, one of my sisters, probably my brother, a lot of people got sick from it. So it's okay, though. We're used to getting sick, dude. We're used to eating pig's asses. And because my dad's sick, we get back to his place. He's throwing up and, just trying to stay alive. Well, I'm in a good mood, dude. Sooners just won. I go downstairs. I got a big day the next day, of landscape and mowing and stuff, but not crazy, because I put a dent in it with my Saturday morning. So my son's there, but Tug, it was, I come from a broken home, so my brother's not there. So Jonah's uncle's not there, who he wants to hang out with and play games, not his dad. But I go downstairs and we're watching Forged in Fire. Jonah likes that show, so we're watching a bunch of guys make knives and stuff, and it's about bedtime, and I start roughhousing a little bit, just because I feel like he's missing out on and kind of cooped up watching a game, and it was so damn hot outside that we didn't do much outside. It's like, we got to get some of this energy out, so we started wrestling around, and my daughter come down, and we're beating the crap out of each other, like you do, like you're supposed to do. You're supposed to suplex a freaking 10-year-old, you're supposed to do all that stuff. And we're doing it, and just wrestling, and I feel okay. But there was a moment within the wrestling where my son, who's getting bigger, he still a little guy, probably undersized for his age, but he has hit a growth spurt. He's getting some mass and some muscle and bigger. He was in there trying to put on jeans that he thought still fit him a minute ago. He's wearing they look like spandex on him, pulling him up. So he's got me by the head, both arms around the head, pulling it down, both legs up on the shoulders, just ripping on my head as my daughter is, giving me freaking off the top rope elbows into the back, And that's life, dude. That's my life. If I want to roughhouse with them, they're just going to go crazy and kick the crap out of me. Well, at some point, that little munchkin, that little son of mine, ripped so hard into my head, he tore something in my shoulders or that chink that I had the week before. And I didn't notice it. Instantly. Did not notice it. So we had a good night. We wrestled. Okay, time for bed. Go lay down. We went and watched. I watched the rest of the Notre Dame, Ohio State game. And I'm laying in bed and we're having a good time. Fall asleep. Wake up in the morning and it's one of those deals where as I start to sit up out of bed, and I've been working on my core a lot. I've been running my 6 miles, but I've been doing my Canadian Air Force workout, which is a lot of sit-ups, and they're very, rigid sit-ups. So I've gotten a lot better about just being able to move, because the whole point of the book is these are muscles you're going to use every day. So let's work on those. I try to sit up, and I can't move. It's like you're paralyzed. The pain in my neck and my upper back from where he was hanging on my head is just on fire, and I can't move my head, and I can't do any of that. And so I finally roll out of bed. I go run. I don't run 5 miles that day, dude. I run 3, and it was hard. I probably ran at a 13-minute pace, very slow. Get back, and hoping that would have loosened it up. It didn't, and I went and had maybe the worst day I've ever, just a miserable day cutting grass. You know what I mean? It can be miserable anyways, especially when it's hot and dusty and windy, and all of those things played a factor. But when you can't freaking move, man, it is compounded. The stress of it or whatever it is. That's how I felt. It's just ugh. And I knew that I had to go to my in-laws, which, just like a lot of other married guys, it's not always the best. And sometimes I think I play it up more in my head. They're really sweet to me, and they just love their grandkids and their own daughter. And sometimes I feel like I'm the villain, but I don't know how much they actually think of that or care about it. I think a lot of that's in my own head. But I was debating on whether or not I finish up all my mowing and then just drive home Sunday night, or if I go up. And I decided to go up, which I think is the right choice. And my father-in-law, Big Doug, he was actually not feeling well. Also, he must have had one of those hot dogs, and so he was not feeling good. And I get there, take a shower. I can't say I'm feeling great. I'm not. I can't. Does not feel good. So we go lay down. We have one of those thunder guns, what I call them, those, massagers that's shaped like a gun to shoot the pains out of your muscles, basically. And so my wife did that on me for a long time, and she's concerned because, I don't really I complain a lot, but usually it's about myself. Like, it's things that I need to do and things I'm thinking of, or, it's not addressed to my wife. And I don't really complain with this pain to my wife. I mean, but it's so obvious and it affects everything. Like, you don't even want to speak. You don't want to speak. That's how bad it was bothering me. Like, she'd ask me a question like she normally does, and it's a typical wife question or whatever, where it's like, and usually I would huff and puff and give an answer. But I was to the point where it's like, I'll just huff and puff and then be like, I don't even want to say it. I don't even want to tell you. I don't care. Yeah, I can't. It does not matter. That's how I felt. It's very emotionally draining. So get up there. But also, one thing I hate doing is kind of like sticking around with nothing to do on the next day. You know what I mean? Like, so I just I got to go to work. I got to go do something. And I'd already finished. I finished late that night. It was like 8:30 before I even got up there. So I finished my stuff. I didn't have anything that was planned to do, but I was like, I got to go do something. Say I'm going to work. I asked my son to come with me. I knew I had to do my dad's bills if he was available. I didn't know how sick he still was, but I get back down to, because that's up in Heston territory, up in my old house territory. Drive back down to Wichita about an hour. There's like all these thoughts, like maybe you can go to Goodwill. Maybe you can go to, it's about 10 in the morning. No, just go to my dad's, tell my dad I got to go on a long run. I go on a very long run that day on Sunday. Or Monday. Probably Monday. Yeah, Monday. On a very long run. Probably 6 miles, 7 miles. I feel a little better, looser, do his bills. And then I start having this argument in my head about, because, I put this. The reason we drove separate vehicles is because Shannon's vehicle was in the shop for so many months. Shannon's BMW is in the shop, and it's done, and he had to pick it up. I can't fit Shannon into the car when my whole family's going, and I didn't know my whole family was going. We thought we were going to pick up the vehicle the week before when my family wasn't going, but because they were going, we can't fit. So I had to drive the truck and the car. So I'm doubling or tripling what it cost me to go up there and do it. You know what I mean? Usually the car is $30 to fill it up. You got to fill it up before you go, fill it up before you go home. It's a $60 trip. Well, the truck was $75 to head up there. It was $54 to come back. I found a cheaper gas price, but still, I still had the other one. It's like it's a $210 weekend. And I dropped Shannon off to get his car, and I'm, he was sweet enough to pay for lunch or something, but it's like, yeah, dude, but the only reason I'm driving this is for you. And it's going to cost me $200 and something, And so, and I know if I said it like that, if I laid it all out, he'd be like, yeah, I'll buy your gas or pay for one half. It's like, it's not even one half. It's the whole trip. Because I would not be driving this. I would just be driving the other one that my wife is driving. So it's the entire trip, bud. It's not half. Well, I'll just pay for half. No, you'll pay for all. I'm only doing it for you. That kind of thing. Because otherwise I just take my family up in the car and I'd be fine. So I don't bring up any of it. It doesn't matter. It's just money, which is hard to get, very hard to earn. But when I do drive something or that kind of thing happens and I have to drive a vehicle that gets poor gas mileage up to here, I like to find a reason behind it. I have to make it. I have to work harder. And my motorcycle. I have a motorcycle that I've had since 2006. I bought it brand new, out of the showroom floors. The first thing I ever bought, actually, before I bought a car or anything. Like, might have had a car, but it wasn't. It was the first thing I ever got a loan on. I should say that. Everything else I'd paid for cash. So I have this motorcycle, a 2006 Suzuki Boulevard, just a little 800. And I love the bike, but I don't drive it very often. And I'm either gonna sell it or to buy, or now I'll start driving it, and I'll get into that in a different episode. But to kind of save gas down here, because I've been looking for like a 70s Enduro, or like a little smaller Honda, almost like a scooter for the amount of dirt roads I travel and stuff, but like a trail bike that's street legal kind of thing. Because this is more of it's a street bike, it's a knockoff Harley or whatever, Sportster. But because I'm there in the truck, it's like, I'll get it. And I have a topper, which we've talked about to keep my dick drive we've talked about that. We've talked about the topper on this old Chevy, this old GMC thing that I bought this past December. And I bought it because I know Gold Thunder is on a pitch count. Gold Thunder, a 2000 F-150, it's got 300,000 miles on it. It's on a pitch count. There's a lot of stuff wrong with it. It's rusted, completely rusted out. Everything's rusted out. But it's been fine. So I haven't had to, use the new Gold Thunder, the new 96 GMC, which runs like a top. It's beautiful. It's an old truck. It's an old man truck, especially with the topper on it. So what ends up happening on all this, because here's what all of it boiled down to this. So with a broken neck on Monday morning, I go to my mom's. She's got her lesbianic friend there that I don't know what the relation. I don't know why this chick is, there's a lady that's around my mom, a younger woman like my age. It's around my mom. It's creepy. I don't like talking to her. I don't like being there. I don't like her. So I won't even talk to my mom when that happens. And I decided I'll take this topper off, and I'll go to my dad's, do his bills, and I'll load up my motorcycle. So I did. It's 4 bolts, that clamped this topper down, got them off, got the clamps off. Now I'm just a broken-necked waterhead trying to, how do you get a topper off a truck? I mean, it's fiberglass. It doesn't weigh that much. Probably weighs 200 pounds or more, 300 pounds. Probably not 300, probably 200 pounds. So I get the clamps off and I kind of like contort it to where it's sideways on the bed and then drag it and get it to a point where the weight's on me. Then I can get under it, like where it's like a helmet, where like the top half of me doesn't exist anymore. I just have legs and the top half of me is a topper. And I just kind of shuffle it over on top of me to the side and then kind of pick it up and get out from under it and lay it down. It was fine. I mean, it was a dumb move to do with a broken neck, but I did it. Get my ramps, go to my dad's. Now, the problem with my motorcycle is because it doesn't get ridden that much, it needs to be ridden. It does not idle very well because the gas was so bad and run through it. It's fuel injected and I need to clean all that out or ride it more. And I got some seafoam in it and all this stuff. But the point is, my dad's recovering from freaking hot dog AIDS, and he's like, "What are you doing? What do you got going on?" He took the topper off. He notices. Yeah, I'm gonna load up the motorcycle. He's like, he just laughs. This is just like me. It's like, oh, randomly after years. I mean, literally almost 20 years. It's like now you're gonna do this, and it's just today, and there's no planning or. That's how I roll. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. It's like, well, how are you going to get it? It's like, I got ramps, dude. And I back up. He's got an angled drive, and it wasn't too steep of an angle. But because it doesn't idle, it's like dying as you're getting it up there. And if I get it up in, he's like, how are you going to get it out? And I was like, I don't know. I'll figure it out, though. And we go do the bills. And he's like, hey, I bought him a jet ski. I bought him a jet ski, him and Jonah, because they love it. My grandpa. I bought Casey's old jet ski for $2,500. It was his mom's, and she was needing some money, or he was, or whatever, and she hadn't ridden that thing very much. The 2000, and so I bought it because I knew my dad had one, and he loves it, and he loves doing it, and it's a big thing. It's kind of like Sooners. It's going to the lake, and it's not really me, but I felt like it was the right thing to do. And so when I bought it, didn't run. It's like we found a guy. We took it over to the guy, and he got it going, and it's been there for a while, and he finally got it going. He's like, it's back. We wanted to put a oil block-off kit on it and mix our own gas because those older Sea-Doos, the automatic fuel injection, if it goes out, you don't know it, and then all of a sudden, you just blow your engine. And so, it's ready. Well, my dad's like, well, we're not going to have much time, man. We need to go ride it before we winterize it and put it up. And I was like, yeah, well, I kind of have a big week, And I haven't had a lot of them. I've had plenty of time up until this week, and then I got Pig Fest coming up this weekend with the trailer. We got a health inspector that's got to come look at the trailer to make sure that we can even have a license. I got the big project that we're working on. I got a wedding coming up, and it's all happening as normal, all the same thing. It's like, I don't know, maybe I can escape. He's like, well, and I was like, well, maybe next Monday, because I get through Pig Fest. It's like, well, that's fine, except for I won't have Tug. I can get Tug out of school because it's a broken home. So I'm mixing divorce situations with all this crap. Leading up to, I have to take it 2 hours from here tomorrow to a lake in Oklahoma, which means I had to get it down here. And he was telling me that. I was like, Dad, but I already got the motorcycle, and the tailgate's down. I think it'll be all right. I think the ball sticks out enough to where I could pull it. He's like, I think so. Take the Sea-Doo with you and the motorcycle. Drive it down tonight. So go get it from Grandpa's after you leave. Drive it down, and then I'll meet you at a lake, Call Lake, tomorrow or Wednesday. It's like, all right, That's the day the health inspector's coming, so that means my Tuesday is preparing for that, because our trailer's basically in storage. We're not cooking, we're not doing anything. What we usually do is, if there's a long period of time in between setups, we'll get to the place we're going to, do a deep clean, and then a cook, and then clean it when we're done, and it might just be parked for a while, and it's been parked for a while. Weeks. So I had to go in there, clean it all up, get it all ready. But the funny thing is, go to my grandpa's on Monday. I got broken neck. I don't want to talk. I'm in a bad mood, and I got to drive 3 hours with a motorcycle that we don't know if we strapped it down correctly in the back of my truck, and then hook up a Sea-Doo and drive it. So I got the freaking swag wagon and just cruising, the 96 GMC, just covered in Oklahoma dirt. It's brown anyways, with a freaking old Suzuki in the back pulling an old Sea-Doo, and it's like, look at this freaking retard driving down the road. And that was me, man. So you may not have got to hear me do a show yesterday, but had you been driving down the corridor, I-35, you would have got to see this waterhead being the ultimate waterhead, pulling that swag. So I got it. It all come down. Parked it. Got to see the kids last night before bed. Neck still bothering me. A little better today. It ain't right though. And so what happened, or what I ended up doing, is I knew I had to go get I spent the morning doing my own bills, my own invoicing, my own end of the month stuff for my mowing business, but also going back and forth with the health inspector about when she can meet us, and also kind of telling her our future plans because, we got big plans coming up. And I knew that I had to unload this freaking motorcycle. The Sea-Doo's easy. I pop the hitch and I can carry it where it goes, but I had to get it registered because I have to freaking be at a lake tomorrow. My wife went and got the registration. I pulled the Sea-Doo off. I back the truck up. I get the ramps down. Dude, I back that thing down the ramps, and I don't have the right angle on the ramps. I mean, it's too steep. And I knew it, but I was thinking like, I can just hold the brake. I can hold the front brake, and it would stop. And back tire comes off onto the ramps, and the whole bike. I don't know how much this freaking thing weighs. It's a lot more than in my mind I think it weighs. You know what I mean? In my mind, it's like it weighs 50 pounds, but in reality, it weighs like 1,000 pounds. And it just starts sliding. And I'm holding the brake. It's just sliding off. And I get to the point because I have one little awning on the side of my tiny little house here. And my head, my broken neck, is on the awning. My legs are pressed up against the handlebars of the bike. And it's not on, it's just sliding, and it's slid, and I'm holding it with like my whole lower body and my neck. And it's like, I don't want it to fall over or fall off the back of the truck. What the hell am I doing? And so I was like, and then the stupid neighbor comes out. It's always like that. The stupid neighbor comes out, and she's like sitting in her car watching legs. She can't see my head, but watching legs like hold a bike up. And like, what the hell? This guy's going to die. And I felt like it. And so I start the motorcycle. That was my next move. Like, I'll start it, and I'll put it in first gear, and I'll get it back up into the bed, and I'll figure it out later. So I get it started, and I got to hold the clutch. I'm holding the brake. I'm holding the whole bike with my neck because it's still wanting to come down. I'm letting off of the front brake as I give it throttle. It's crawling up finally starts crawling up, then it stops. Can't move anymore because this angle is so steep. And I was so dumb, like, this will be fine. So steep that it's caught on the frame of the bike. Back tire's not on the ramp anymore. And the whole thing's sitting basically on the tailgate, on the frame. Which is a good thing and a bad thing, because it could move at any second. But right now, it's balanced perfectly. There's no wind, please. And I end up, so what I did was, quick goat thinking, jump off, strap each side of it so it won't fall over. And then also strap it in a way that I could jack up the ramp with a floor jack to lift up the back tire to make it not be the frame on there, and then give myself a little slack of the straps once I'm on the motorcycle, can hold it up, then drive it back into the bed. That's what I did. And then I had to take the straps off, then restrap it again. I drove it in the alley, and I found a hill that I could back up to, and it was no problem. But there's a lot. A lot of like thinking and being like, what's wrong with you? Stupid. But I got it. So anyways, got to Shannon's, got it done, trailer, got it to a point of do what she says as far as the health inspector goes. But I just can't wait to tell you. I know that we're really chomping at the bit. It's going to be a lot of changes. I will say that. There's going to be a lot of changes moving forward. If it all goes the way that, we're kind of wanting it to go. And there's a lot of reasons I'm doing the thing that I'm doing. There's a lot that goes into it. But I think it's the right move, and I think that it can incorporate a lot of this stuff, or at least the OK Taco Show and those guys from Wichita, into what we're doing. And then more importantly than that, if I can just get to where, and I don't know if I'll ever get there because of the way that I am, but if I could just get to a point where I have a schedule, where it's a scheduled thing, I think that can really be beneficial, not only to my own sanity, but also to, and even if the schedule's like something that nobody else in the world would want, like it's an awful schedule. You mean work 20 hours a day? That kind of schedule? That's what your plan was? That's your big fix? But at the same time, it's the only way that I'm, if I'm not, I think I kill. I'm like literally like I'm internally killing myself if I don't have all those problems going on at the same time. So I got to do it, and I got to make it the hardest way, and I think that's what I do. That's the way that I am. So I really want to do a lot more of these. I love doing this. I love coming out here and doing the Shed Show. I like being on YouTube. If you guys want to watch the Connie G Show on YouTube, it's on Con Radio. So just find it on YouTube on Con Radio. So anyways, I got to go in there and kiss my kids goodnight. But there's a lot coming, dude. And I haven't forgot about it. And I want to do this. And, that's never changed. But I got to do it the right way, So it's going to be kind of weird. And I can't get a set schedule totally yet, because it's not that I can't, it's that I just got too much going on in my mind right now. You get a couple a week or, a few a week or whatever, but we'll figure it out together on what goes on in the future. And I think it's exciting, and I think that I need help. I know that, dude. I know Steve's coming, but Chris, dude, I need help. No doubt about it. So, the bat signal's out. I don't ask for it very often, but I need it. So, get a weekend. You want to come down? I'm not going to say I'm going to put you to work, but I'm going to say I need your advice. I need people's advice. So, anyways, that's what's going on. And in this neck of the woods, I'm sorry I didn't get into that Canada stabbing stuff that everybody likes so much. Yeah, that's some crazy stuff. But I'm following along. Thank you guys for listening. Please consider subscribing to not only the YouTube Con Radio, but also listen to Con Radio on Spotify or iTunes, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get them. Find it on Patreon if you want to help support the show. Go there. You just go to the Connie G Show, on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So, however you find it, share it. I don't know. I'll do my best. That's all I can do. So, I'll do my best for you. Try to give you guys some distraction or maybe something that you can actually relate to. I think a lot of times we tend to go the way of the masses, and follow the bigger shows. I'm the same way. I like listening to the guys that I know that are the biggest out there. But at the same time, I want to emulate them. I want to see what they're doing. That's why, I think it's smart. But at the same time, how can anyone relate to these people that are normal people? How can you relate to somebody that is talking about a Yachtmaster watch, or that is talking, how can you relate to Joe Rogan? You can't, And not saying that that's something that makes for a good show, the relatability, But at the same, I think that there's an opportunity out there for storytellers and creative people to at some point I'll be Joe. I mean, I'm going to make it. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it. I'm going to have that money. And a lot of people say, well, don't do it for the money. No. That's you trying to keep me out of your club. That's not. I'm doing it to prove that it can be done. That's why I'm doing it. I got 2 kids in there that are arguing with my wife right now, I'm sure, that they don't want to go to sleep. And I'm doing this show to prove that their point makes sense. They shouldn't go to sleep. So I gotta go in there and tell them good night before it's too late. So with that being said, subscribe, do all the stuff, share, leave a review. Love you guys. And thank you so much for those of you who have listened and continue to listen and support my endeavors and the things I'm doing, especially on this side, the creative side. And I appreciate you guys. And so with that being said, have an okay day. And don't let your meat loaf.